here. Of course, Chasey not having a flash or ghost makes ganks all the more exciting as there we go!
There it is, the Unraveled Earth comes down. Chasey gonna try and get himself out of here. The Counter-Strike doesn't quite work, but he doesn't have too much more. Cataclysm going to come on through. Can he get any kills back? Elyoya not gonna be able to find it. Sven just uses the ultimate beautifully to survive everything, and C9 are on the board.
Really nicely done there, even with Blabber not able to actually find the knockback because Chasey used the W, Blabber wasn't in range. The follow-up is enough. Zwen immediately grabs turret aggro, which ensures that with his ultimate he is fine. Fudge might have to pay the price here though.
Perhaps Hylissang looking for his opportunity. Grand Entrance does come through. There's the Counter-Strike though. One heck of an ability. The Ignite comes through. Quickness going to be utilized as well. They do not want to leave anything to chance, and Elyoya is going to skewer the Jax for a second kill from that.
And the roam from Hylissang working out this time around. As Berserker and Carzzy, they're still here, guys. Don't worry, they're in this game, I swear. We saw like one ultimate from Carzzy, maybe as
Speaking of ultimates, yeah, the Weaver's Wall going to come on through here. Is Carzzy going to try and get himself out of the way, and he does so beautifully. Seismic Shove has to land if he's going to make that one work. True Shot Barrage connects as well, but he's overstepped, and Carzzy's going to get punished by Berserker. We could say baited by Blabber, but unfortunately, I think it was more of a Carzzy stepped a bit too far forward.
Desperately wanted to get the kill there on Blabber, who still had his flash available as well. And into the welcoming arms of Berserker. Xayah getting an early kill, particularly in a setup with as much frontline as this, always going to feel great. And Mad, able to get that topside kill was nice, but one of the reasons why the Ezreal is seen as such a safe pick is because it's so incredibly hard to consistently lock him down. But the moment you start falling behind with a pick like that, particularly if there is frontline in the form of Alistar and K'Sante, you can definitely run into some issues. And that's going to be a lot of CS missing. Now, the plate not going over to C9 is nice, but in by itself, not enough. And I think that you just have to accept, right? You absorb the gank. Maybe your team has an opportunity to go extra aggressive on the top side of the map, get some extra damage down.
You can you understand exactly how he was feeling, right? Like you see that health bar, I'm like that's 1Q. That's 1Q, and I get him. Not the case.
Flash as well. So still getting caught by the root, unfortunately, as Chasey.
Yeah, Blabber is going to spot him out, and he says, "Nope, you're not going to be able to steal this one away from me. I'm going to overstep as well, as the Gwen is pretty scary." Does just have his steel caps completed after that leeching lead that he's had for quite a while. So due a shot perhaps. Blabber's going to move himself towards his bottom side. So first rate goes to C9. As all right, that is going to be M&S finding Hilly. He's looking to try and get himself out. Ground entrance going to be enough in order to do so. Does have to burn the flash. Not exactly the favorite thing for a Rakan who wants to use that to get these fights started.
Yeah, overstepping a little bit. Mad was also invading the top half of the map where they have great vision control. So Hilly then trying to also apply some pressure, get down some vision in the bottom half of the map. Will end up getting punished. Does get away with his life as M&S does have to tank a little bit of damage, but will be able to pick up his little cannon there. And Carzzy, obviously, Ezreal, you're always going to be fine. If it's one, maybe two of those kills. If they start stacking up, though, you're definitely going to be in trouble. And we do see Nisqy, as mentioned, early game. I think K'Sante does have a lot of agency in that 1v1. The moment that the Liandry's is done really changes. Nisqy is going to be able to whittle down M&S, as we see there, as gold lead here for Berserker. It's not insurmountable, but for a guy who has been great with leads and very pivotal to C9 on a hyper carry, still going to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, he's looked incredible. Just get Berserker the items that he needs, and he reliably carries. It's been a bit of a mantra for C9. Another Weaver's Wall going to come on through here as Blabber's going to show up, Chasey in a whole host of trouble. The Needlework doing a fair bit, though, here as Fudge going to try and get out of there. Sven going to be the one to lock it down, though. And a bit of the question mark. I think the answer to that question is you got to kill.
And this is a lot invested, and the problem for Mad is that there is no cross-map response, right? Elyoya was actually backing, not able to make anything happen. There's no dragon on the map, and the rest of C9 playing respectful as well. We don't see Berserker overextended or by himself, and even with the vision control that Mad have in the enemy jungle, doesn't actually end up being enough to find a counterplay. C9 pulling ahead, gonna be able to pick up first brick here as well.
Oh, great little pick up there. Sven gonna have to blow the flash, get himself out of the situation. Does have Hex Flash, so getting that flash on cooldown, very, very important. Something that I've spoken about many, many times. As Kazi be able to take down the turret on the bottom side of the map, and the lane economy snapshot provided by MasterCard is going to show us things going well for C9 outside of support and mid lane. Otherwise, it is all blue.
And this is exactly the same combo they used earlier, right? The trio of Blabber, Fudge, and Sven. And for Chasey, even with the sustain that Gwen has, there just isn't really enough you can do. They don't even really need to rely on Sven tanking, right? Fudge is able to take a few hits, then drop out. The Ignite not going to be enough. Riftmaker is now done. I was kind of wondering if we're going to see any of the Rocket Belt, Gwen, which also has been a really popular build, but instead it will just be the classic Riftmaker, really strong in the 1v1 and makes Gwen feel like a real champion, able to win these longer fights and make those, you know, iconic 1v multiple people Gwen plays where with your ultimate you sustain for everything.
I'm wondering when we're going to see the Akali answer once again on the top side of the map. I know a lot of top laners have been playing a heck of a lot of Akali in solo queue, but solo queue doesn't give us a lot of information.
Okay, Chasey knows.
We're ganking the turret, exactly. It's out of turret, it stands no chance. Where's your flash? Fudge is going to be able to take that one down. Sven, of course, making sure that no one's going to turn up. Chasey is going to do so, getting information. Sven's not going to be there, but still, Fudge is going to be able to take this one down. So 1 to 2, as far as these turrets are concerned. Things working out as far as side lane priority for C9 as well. Feels like the Jax is working out here for Fudge.
And we did see the Herald being taken on the other end for Mad. And they will be able to get a charge turret very low, and picking that up going to be a big boon for them. Nisqy, now we're starting to see Mad actually pick up some standing gold on the map, equalizing these objectives, making sure that they don't fall too far behind. And honestly, very similar to the previous game, we actually see it going very even.
Yeah.
We'll see if C9 can build themselves up a Drake lead here.
That's going to be that Hextech Drake, and it will be secured there. Good smite from Blabber, as Nisqy's going to have to flash. Fudge is going to flash immediately after him as well. Blast Cone, he wants to get over and he'll find it! Beautifully solo killed by Fudge. Locks down the Syndra, and the Jax is only going to get worse from here for Mad.
Really big win. C9 get the dragon. Nisqy gets caught on the opposite side of the map and invests his flash as well. And that to me is the biggest part of that, because for Fudge, with Leap Strike and the innate safety it provides, it's actually really hard to consistently take down the Jax. But yeah, the moment that you know you're in a long lane alone, I think some of the members of Mad actually being spotted, Fudge knows he can go in. You're never getting away from that Jax.
Yep. Beautifully played by Fudge. He even gets a ward there that is now very useful. Like, it's just success after success. Chasey, though, going to try and answer here by pushing in this bottom lane. Side lane pressure here for both of these teams is working out. And Blabber wanting to clear vision. Elyoya wants to steal away this Brambleback. The Seismic Shove's going to pull it back. That is going to be Blabber locking that one down. Elyoya actually takes a little bit of a journey as well. He will be all right. C9 just trying to keep themselves with some control of their jungle. Because, of course, the mid lane, it's sort of pseudo-safety in the fact that their tower is very, very low. Headbutt Pod does come through. That is going to be all the CC and provided to make sure that the Seismic Shove is going to work out. But Hylissang not going to dash through the rocks. No. Absolutely fantastic.
Just looking at them, you don't have enough damage.
Yeah.
I'm fine. No bother. The main thing, and I do think that this is another situation where you can claim that both teams have really good elements of scaling. I think that Ezreal, once he hits a certain point, can take over team fights. We have the Gwen, who, even though into the Jax, particularly with the Jax having a lead, I don't think you're going to be super excited about, still is a really big team fight threat. But for Mad, the execution is a lot harder, right? Because you don't have a traditional front line. You have Elyoya, who, sure, is a bruiser, will be able to take a little bit of a beating, but particularly with the itemization, right? Kraken Slayer, we have the Liandry's as well. Divine Sunderer isn't really going to provide you with the safety that Nisqy and Carzzy might be looking for. So it all comes down to initial setup, initial engage from Elyoya and Hylissang. Whereas for C9, like Sven and Amanus promote so much frontline and counter engage that if they're able to just keep Blabber and Berserker safe, I think it's going to be hard for Matt. Now, Matt's vision control, though, has been really, really good, and I think that is pivotal as a little cancel.
to stop the backs. You love
a little cancel.
It's going to work out. We do have Baron spawning in 3 seconds' time. Don't think anyone's going to head over there just yet. As Chasey still demanding some respect here from Fudge. Will leap his way out of what could have been a precarious situation. Things as far as CS are concerned are very, very close between the two top laners. Outside of that, Fudge with the extra kill. So still feeling all right as the Jax, but not wanting to take any risks. Didn't have full information. Not wanting to give away anything here. As M&S just spending some time towards that top side. But I want to go back to what you were talking about as far as setting the stakes for what's going to happen later in this game. Because this looks like a very quintessential C9 composition of, it's all right, Berserker, you do your thing. Yeah. We'll get in the front and cause a ruckus. You kill everyone. And that could just be what happens as we get later and later in this game. Mad's going to have to really focus on eliminating the Xayah. A thing that can be difficult given the safety that Featherstorm provides.
I think you see some in the building as well. Blabber going for Rylai second. Obviously, Taliyah, I think, applies it very well, but it's also another extra angle of safety. The slow combined with the normal peel that you can provide for yourself, but also for Berserker with the E is something that a C9 might have to rely on too. Now, Mad's vision control, again, I think goes really deep, and I'm hoping that they can deny the dragon stacking, because if Mad start picking up a couple of Infernal Drakes, it really tilts I think the ease of execution, because if you just press your buttons on someone, they will die, right? If you get enough AP, if you get enough AD, and even especially if you're actually able to get an Infernal proper.
They're going to look for Berserker here, who Ice Cold just going to stand there, and he will say, you don't have enough. Much like we saw on the other side of the coin previously.
I wonder if C9 want to set up a situation where they're like, okay, Matt, you go for the dragon. We don't care. It's only a single dragon for you. And then we just
rush Baron?
Hard run, to Baron, which is up, and they have, you know, Liandry's Taliyah. They have a Xayah that's sitting on 2 items, Quick Blades and Kraken Slayer both done. So Baron definitely going to get shredded very, very swiftly.
He will. Abyssal Mask also completed here for M&S, so Blabber is going to be doing a lot of work if M&S can get himself in there. And of course, Taliyah as the solo source of magic damage. It's not going to be a lot of magic resist built this game.
It also works both ways, because I think that Mad actually are pretty reliant on their magic damage for a lot of their burst and sustained damage, right? Carzzy obviously is going to be able to burst, but M&S with Abyssal and Merc Treads, I think can just keep stacking these resistances. It goes!
That's a flash right on top of Nisqy. It gets a flash in response. Good reaction there from the Mad mid laner to get himself out of the way. Weaver's Wall going to come through here. It's in trade for that one, but the knockup does come through here from Sven, who wants to make a fight out of this. Hasn't actually ulted just yet and is now looking to potentially go for a reset, get the health back. Just take the trade. They've got Flash and Ghost out of Carzzy.
Now, the summoner trade favorable for C9, but the positioning much better from that. They have control of the river, and they will be able to deny the dragon stacking, not allowing C9 to pick up a soul point 23 minutes into the game, getting it for themselves. So in the short term, a favorable trade for Mad. We'll see if C9 is able to maybe go for an aggressive Baron play and then use the fact that Nisqy and Carzzy don't have flash available. I actually like this. I think playing aggressively in this way is great. That ward, though, not blocked by the pink, I think. Or actually, no, it is. We're fine.
M&S is going to be able to see that there is a ward in this pit, but I don't know what they're going to be able to do about this, because it's going down so quickly. Berserker's even the one that gets the last hit on the Baron because he does so much damage. Chasey now looking for the needlework here onto M&S. This is the matchup that he wanted in the first place, but of course K'Sante's got the dash. He'll get himself out of there, and Fudge is just doing Jax things in the bottom lane. Oh dear, Mad, they deny the dragon stacking, but the Baron stacking, Chronicler.
Yeah, you take that.
It's feeling good.
Not going to be sad about that one. C9 identified a Mad after being able to pick up the dragon, not in a position to actually contest that Baron pit. And Red Bull Baron power play for C9 should be huge here. Fudge already picks up an inner. They have the buff on every single person. They didn't have to give up anything besides Blabber's flash, which you're going to be very happy to pay. We'll see if they're able to really break open the map, because Mad, I do think, do have a decent amount of ranged wave clear, but these outers definitely all going to fall. Already the mid outer that is still up, 100% going to get taken down here by Berserker and M&S.
Yeah, Hylissang was looking for some sort of follow-up angle. Nisqy not really close enough, doesn't have flash. So, could be dangerous, absolutely. Chasey here towards his bottom side, just doing the Gwen things, but so much harder. It can be so snowbally if you have 1-for-1 compositions pitted against one another. As soon as one of these side laners gets the advantage, it puts on way more pressure. See whether Mad can find themselves some team fights, get themselves back into this one. Of course, Jax and Gwen, both great team fighters as well. But with the fact that Fudge has this edge, especially with the Baron, can really be a worry. And like you were talking about, the Red Bull Baron power play sitting at 2.2k. I think we're just getting better and better as far as these...
scaling.
Yeah, the power plays are concerned.
Now we have seen last game, getting a Baron, no guarantee that you're going to end up winning the game, but what I think has been a consistent trend in this, a pattern rather in this game, is that even though Mad are still making plays, right, they're trading aggressively, in the long term a lot of those plays still favor C9. If we look at the CS leads, right, even with the early ganks and the pressure that Oyoya tried to put on, Blabber, completely fine, absorbs it, flashes, is okay. Fudge, yes, he gets taken down by Oyoya with a really nice early flash, flag and drag gank, but then by the end of it, C9 just go in hard, Sven goes to top twice, and they're completely fine.
Well, Scat of the Week does come through. There's a headbutt pulp, though. Still, he's not scared as they have the seismic shot. Oyoya able to get himself out of the way. Keeps the cow alive there with the ultimate, but now Fudge has found a backline. The quickness and the grand entrance having to be used by Hilly. Get himself out of dodge, but still C9 are pushing. They are not stopping. And with this Baron, his tower is not looking long for the world. And Sven, still just fine. The Unbreakable Will working out so beautifully, and Blabber just heads towards the top lane. They are taking everything from Mad.
And for Mad, not a lot of options remain at this point in time, right? C9 in full control, very straightforward teamfight composition. And it's again, yes, Oyoya gets out, but he has to invest his flash. He has to, together with the rest of his team, disengage. And as a result, C9 picks up a turret, and now the gold lead, 5k, definitely a very, very sizable one. Sven has been very, I think, impactful on this Alistar. Because even though Blabber, I think, having a great game when it comes to the damage output and absorbing the pressure, it's been Sven who has been making so many of these aggressive plays. The cancel there on Oyoya's flag and drag is what sets up that play.
Nicely done by Sven. And it's the power of this Alistar that we, you know, we're already talking about is very, very strong. But Rakan as well has had a lot of these moments already in this tournament, and just throughout his lifetime in League of Legends. Hylissang might be able to find something. We know he's provided some magic in the past. It's a bit on his shoulders to try and make sure that Mad can get the fights that they're looking for as well. But right now, it is looking tough here. And C9 looking like they should be able to get off to a 1-0 start. However, the win rate for teams that pick up Baron is currently 0%. So, let that
teleport
prove.
from Fudge. Deep teleport will get spotted.
Yeah, immediately. However, his position is still good. As Mad looking to try and get themselves out of the way. There's a flash headbutt to come through, but Hylissang, he just gets himself out of the way. It's not really the target that they want. The needlework now being put forward, but the stopwatch going to be utilized here by Fudge beautifully to keep him alive. But there's a lot of resources used by C9.
We'll see if this is an opportunity for Mad, if they can get to 2 dragons. Maybe try and punish the indecision there from C9, right? The moment you know you're spotted, doesn't end up working out. The wall is going to be enough to keep him away. It looks like it is.
Yeah, it is. Flag not going to do enough damage to contest the smite, as Hylissang taking a bit of damage here as well. And M&S just going to be able to press that W. CC not something that he's too worried about. Kazi is going to be pressing that E forward, a dangerous move, but not going to be able to find any of his targets either. So Mad just have to watch as Soul Point goes over towards C9. And Chasey have to get back towards this minion wave. Has a lot of work to do as far as this one is concerned. Getting any sort of map pressure here for Mad. And we're approaching even larger gold advantages here for C9. And if that Infernal Soul comes through,
oh yeah,
I mean, it's looking pretty dicey.
Very much so. And additionally for Mad, as mentioned, I think that so much of it rests on actually being able to be the one that is on the offensive. And I think that Mad have been able to do that in specifically a 2v2 skirmish 3v3 sense. When it comes to the team fights, feels like it's C9 that's pulling the trigger every single time. It's Blabber getting a catch, it's Sven going in, and even though the last engage didn't quite end up working out, Dragon still goes over to C9, so I don't think it's going to be too sad. The cancel!
Oh yeah, it's going to get canceled. Seismic Shove going to come through, and I guess you can just engage onto Hylissang if he's that far up, and C9 now with a 5v4 advantage and a Baron that has just returned to the Rift. They're going to look to grab their second, and that might be the final nail in the coffin for Mad. That is going to be another engage. The headbutt to push Elyoya away. Not going to be able to flag, drag, flash, or anything to steal that one as M&S. He's also able to keep himself alive. Kazi going to push forward one more time as Elyoya looking for it, but Berserker's just flashing after him. The seismic shoves. They've been amazing this game from Blabber. That's going to mean that Elyoya can't do anything. And Chasey just wondering why his kill feed's just red as he's dealing with an inner turret.
And C9 looking to take a decisive victory here. Slow and steady. I think Sven, again, having a wonderful performance here on the Alistair. Blabber absorbing the early pressure from Elyoya. And Matt just not able to really generate any type of aggressive pressure. And the trades that work out.
Hylissang looking for an option here, but Blabber is just going to go golden. Hylissang is going to go down as well. The first Nexus turret has been taken. North America in their first showing here in the Swiss stage against the what is it again?
LEC, EMEA.
Yeah, let's go with the LEC. They're going to be able to take them down. It's LCS that are ahead, Chronicler.
And you know, best of ones are inherently volatile, but after the first two, I gotta say, LCS, not looking too bad.
Not looking too bad at all. I mean, it was almost TL taking down T1.
You know it.
And now it is C9 giving hugs to Nisqy as well, of course, formerly with C9. They are going to move to 1-0. You already said how incredibly important it is to find those advantages, find those 1 wins in these very volatile BO1s in the Swiss stage. C9 already being able to collect their first W here at Worlds.
Again, it means that you are going to get seeded against one of the powerhouse of the tournament. You might end up playing a JDG, right? The tournament favorite in your next one, but it builds so much more safety. It builds the momentum that I think, particularly in Swiss, are so important.
And I have a feeling that Kobe and Jat want to start a bit of a conversation over on the desk. So let's throw it over to Shox to see what these North American representatives are feeling like.
Well, we thought he wasn't going to join us because he's too
Then he showed up.
embarrassed.
Just in time, then he showed up.
What's up?
What's going
unlike
on?
Mad Lions.
Did you want to avoid the scrutiny of what's going on?
They didn't do anything. I'm very disappointed. It's 1-6 versus NA now.
See, that's why you didn't want to join. Anyway, on the other side of the coin, though, Cloud9, I want to almost say expertly done in terms of the macro, right? Making sure that you don't really give Matt a chance to pull out those team fights and just play the map, Jat.
Yeah, I was initially a little bit worried when I saw the Gwen because I didn't feel like there was a great entrance for team fights for Cloud9. But then, as you say, the game really wasn't about team fights. Blabber was 30, 40 CS up pretty much the entire game. They consistently found picks, and they always had the first setup for the objective. So this was like the least stressful NA versus EU win ever, Kobe?
Yeah, so
Still.
I actually started laughing so hard in the control room when we saw the flash blown from Blabber. Elyoya invades, blows his flash, but I'm laughing because I know Blabber will happily trade his life for double Scuttle Crab. Just a flash, that's a bargain, that's a deal. He was so far ahead off that. It was 2 extra camps of time worth for Elyoya to go for that invade and try and surprise him there. But really, one of the unsurprising little things was kind of the bait play on bottom side that led into these dragons that then Cloud9 was able to utilize the dragon sacrifice
Where
for Baron.
Carzzy did a classic Carzzy.
So I have to whinge about this draft.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
Whinge?
so,
What is that?
Yeah, what's
so
whinge?
whinge is a British word for complain. I
Okay,
think
let's go.
the thing that I think is really smart from Cloud9, I thought they were actually going to ban Jace or Gwen in the second rotation after they banned the Rumble. They banned Ahri, which I think was a really great read from them because when we look at what Mad wanted to do, they have early rotation Jarvan and they wanted a mid laner that had agency. We talked earlier about how Nisqy, his identity is very much about getting out on the map. Ahri plus Jarvan is a fantastic mid-jungle duo that gives you so much control in the early game. By going for Syndra and then nullifying the matchup with the K'Sante in the mid, C9 pretty much mitigated any early game options that Mad really had. Their only plays were through topside where they found a couple of ganks, but outside of that, Mad had no ability to build any early game lead. And I think that C9 just had a great read on what Mad wanted to do. They adapted well in the draft. They played the game patiently like they needed to do, eventually outscaling and dominating Mad.
Yeah, there's barely any notes, it seems like.
Good job. I mean, really, Cloud9, they're at the same tier as T1 at the moment.
Oh my
Like they did both win their
Actually,
first game.
actually, their win was cleaner.
And I'd say Cloud9 is better than TL. So if they play the next round, it's really not that bad, right?
Yeah.
Is being in the 1-0 bracket a blessing and a curse? Because then you're going to have to play against
Yeah.
Yes.
some other 1-0 teams.
Yes.
is.
Actually, nothing's positive, but this is positive. It was a beautiful win. Let's take a look at some of the top dives. You know, we didn't get to spend that much time talking about top lane before Kobe, but C9 clearly did.
So these were some of the few plays that we did see in the early game, and I had a magnifying glass on Sven specifically with these melee supports in our pregame with the Alistar, with the Rakan, with the Rail possibilities. And although the dives weren't exactly the cleanest, they still were successful both times that they sent jungle plus support up here for Fudge. Even though a couple times, Fudge stays after and they give back, one extra kill, they snowball so much off of getting the top tower, first tower down, getting the Jax to be able to rotate again and swap that lane. That allows them this counterplay where then having 2 dragons stacked, they can throw it away even though, they back off and give up their dragon stacking, rush down the Baron.
I was upset with Mad.
This wasn't the Mad that we know, right?
I mean, what? So
we know love and hate.
yeah, it's one of those things. The first thing I said to you in the game was, oh, they're actually attacking top. When we think back to spring, playing through Chasey was how they won a split throughout the year. So I thought, okay, this makes sense. Get the Gwen ahead, make her an unstoppable force in the side lane. This is great, but. As you rightly said, huge credit to Sven because he really did pick great windows working with Blabber. And the fact that Blabber just kept power farming on the Taliyah, they had a fantastic game. And then really what was beautiful was the way they played around that initial Baron. Like they caught Mad completely off guard with this play.
Yeah, and every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, C9 get the perfect setup for that first Baron jet.
Yeah, and this was about after C9 gave up the Drake. So Matt is really happy because this is going to put them to Soul Point. Cloud9 had got the first 2 Drakes, and that's a little bit of relief when you're Mad Lions. You think, okay, we got the Drake, nothing bad has happened, let's reset, get back on the map. But Cloud9 knows they have very high Baron damage. They know they have a control ward already on the Baron, so they're basically thinking that this is clean, and they just take it. And because they have good vision coverage, this swings them ahead in goal.
So